about this new year, right? Everybody says like new year, new me, but like I want you to know it's like the same you, okay? You just gotta like get real with yourself. And I know I'm sure Harriet's gonna touch on that a little bit, but I am gonna hand it over to her and we're gonna talk about goals. If you have not written down your goals yet, girl, get your pen and your paper. For real. I'm gonna mute myself.
Oh my gosh. Yes, that's like the thing when we first start the year. New me, right? But then new year comes, then it's the second and you're like, okay, it's still me, right? So it's about like refocusing yourself. That's why I titled it Refocus as well into your goals and your vision. And of course, our leadership touches on that. I think it's not muted when they come in. They have to mute themselves. I want to kind of go into the mindset of it because yes, we can write down our goals. We can say, oh, I want to accomplish this. I'm going to become this better version of myself. I'm going to up level. What if your mindset is in there? It's just words on a piece of paper, right? So you have to get your mindset in it and you have to set things in motion. Okay. It's crazy that I had this prepared since last week, but on Sunday, my pastor touched on refocusing and about vision and about like when it's crazy how it happens because he literally said what I just said, like you partner with God into the vision that he has for your life. And when you talk about visions and goals, let's break down the difference first. When you have a vision, that's like the macro of it, right? That's like the big picture, your vision of what you're trying to get to. But when you think about your goals, that's like the micro part of it. The goals are like the stair steps that are going to get you to that bigger vision that you have, whether it's for your life, in our business, as a parent, in relationships. You have to break it down into bit-sized pieces. And what's up, guys? It's gonna happen. No, I don't want you on camera today. He's not even, oh my God, he's all dirty. Excuse my baby. So like whenever God puts a vision on your heart, it's about like you have to become it, you have to do it, and you have to achieve it. Like he wants you to be that, to do it, and to achieve it. That's God's vision. And you have to partner with him and kind of like recenter yourself and say, okay, help me to become that leader that you want me to become. Help me to become that mama. Help me to refocus and really zone in on what it is that you want me to do and how you want me to do it, how you want me to present myself. Okay, so the benefits of having a vision is that vision provides you purpose and direction. Okay, it provides you with like getting up every day and actually having that joy and having that fulfillment in every day, even in the mundane things that you can tackle every single day, right? We start a business and we're excited and we hit the ground running, and then a few months later, you're like, okay, now what? Oh, I feel like I'm boring people on my stories. I feel like I'm doing the same thing. No, if you're fulfilled and you're happy in what you're doing, it doesn't matter what they say. We hear it all the time. Right when you start feeling like you're like a broken record and you're doing the same thing, that's when they're just starting to pay attention. So you really have to like kind of have tunnel vision and just work on you, share the products that you love, share how you're growing, and keep going. Okay, like I told the team, like this year is our year of fearless action. Okay, the motto is whenever that fear sets in, we're not going to let it get to us this year. We're not going to say, I'm so nervous right now, I'm sweating. Okay, because like I stepped out on what, like, this is my vision, right? God put it on my heart. But to be honest, as much as you may see me show up in my stories on live and all that, my fear was leading Zooms. My fear is leading work with me, right? And I'm like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be scared shit out of my mind. Sorry, God. I'm going to do it anyway, right? And look at this. Now we're doing this Zoom and it's open up to everyone. I don't know. It's more than just my team on here. But it's like, I'm like, okay, God, I see what you're doing, right? Like, I have to position myself. You have to position yourself to be stretched and to just do it anyway. So next time you feel like you don't want to go live, next time you feel inadequate and you're like, I don't have anything to say, it doesn't matter, set it in motion anyway. Do it anyway. Tell the devil, you know what? I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to set it in motion no matter how it comes, because the thing is, it's moving forward in that motion and that fearless action that's just going to prepare you for it. Katie said it yesterday. Amber had just said it. Every mountain has valleys, okay? And you have to go through those valleys in order to prepare yourself. That's what strengthens you. It gives you that endurance to start climbing up that mountain and getting to the top. But not only getting to the top, looking back and having that growth that you got through the valley. So you have to set in motion, right? Live with that intentionality about your life, about your everyday, your business, how you're growing, how in your mindset. It's the strongest asset that you have, growing your mind. And you guys, another thing that vision does, it stirs up your passion and energy. When you have that vision and you have it forward, whether you have it on paper or not, you have to have it in your mind as well. Of course, write it down somewhere you can see it every day, on your mirror, somewhere where you can be passing by on a run, in a rush in the morning. Your kids might make you, right? And you look at it real quick and you're like, you know what? I have on my mirror a saying from Trent. He said, if you don't know Trent Solution, look him up. It says, let me try to see if I don't mess it up. It says, the sun will keep rising anyway. Like the sun is going to come up every day anyway. And I have that on my mirror because like I go through a lot, right? I'm a single mom. I have to do it all by myself and like kids sometimes. And like sometimes for a few moments in the bathroom is where like I might get some alone time, right? And it's on my mirror. So you have to like, even on the go, put those things, put it where you can see them. Keep working on your mindset, but also take that action. Don't get so caught up in just growing that you're not going to put forward that action. Because then when you grow, you may feel empowered for that moment. But if you don't take that fearless action, I'm going to keep saying it, you don't act on it in that moment, it's still going to stop you. It's going to paralyze you and you're not going to keep going. You're going to start overthinking and you're not going to move forward and setting things in motion. Okay. So like I said, goals are the stair steps in the fulfillment of the vision. Okay. It's in Jeremiah 31:21. You guys know, like the Bible is literally like the book of life. Like everything that you need is in there. Everything that you want to set in motion, it tells you to put those goals, but it also tells you faith without work is dead, right? What, baby? You back? Okay. So put your goals in writing and set a goal for different areas of your life. Okay, you want to say hi? Hi. So some different areas that I set and I actually revamp my okay. What's wrong? Here. You want to go right? Here. Just don't write on my walls, please. Go. Okay. So different areas, for example, like in your faith, your family, fitness, financial, professional, right? And I revamp. I have a I think I'm saying it right, y'all. Cork board. Is it a cork board where you just kind of stick the things in there? I don't know. I put white sheets of paper and I wrote on that blank sheet of paper that different area, and then I took the sticky notes and I put them on there. So like my potential team members, right? They're like a purple, and my current team goals, my current team members, they're like a yellow, and my family and fitness are blue, and then my professional goals are a hot pink, you know? So it's like you can see them and you have to like just, like I said, it stirs up that passion and that energy. I know you can hear it, like I'm excited. It's something about like the new year, but like I said, do not think of it like you're a different you. You're just like continuing to evolve and going into that new year and reflecting on the past year and having that gratitude about your growth, but also looking at what you may feel is a failure is something that didn't happen to you, it happened for you. So you have to just reanalyze that and refocus, right? Go in to see how you can start working on those things, but also be glad on the things that you did achieve, the growth that you did have, and how you can now take that into 2022 and grow it even more, but not to sit on what didn't happen, because that's the blessing of a new year, that you can refresh yourself, refocus, and start over. Okay. So this, at the end of this year, I read the book Woman Involved. So like I swear, like out of all the books I've read, this has really revolutionized my life and my thinking. Like it almost like it's like it brought everything together for me. I completely recommend it. But in this book, she said, I don't care how many losses you have under your belt. Each morning you open your eyes, I want you to start hearing the bell go off. Ding, 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 ding. Because that's God's way of saying he has signed you up again for a rematch. Okay. A rematch to not allow negativity to win like it might have done yesterday. A rematch to say, you know what, I'm going to have a better attitude today. A rematch to say, like, you know what, I still ate another flip yesterday, but today I'm going to make my regular yogurt with some honey and some oats in there instead of a flip yogurt. Or I'm going to drink my water, right? It's a rematch. It's like, it's go time again. Every time you open your eyes, every single morning. Amber, I've been doing better. I've been making my own little flips too. Okay, so this is where I really loved in the book. Now I'm calling myself out too. You got me on them though, so I guess it all started with you. But yeah, so one thing that I also realized, and I grew up in a household where the word hate, right? And I think all of us hear it. Oh, it's such a strong word. We don't want to use that word. But even before I joined this team, when I was struggling to come out of my addiction, I had to hate it. I always said I had to get to a point where I just had to hate the version that I was. I had to hate the things that I would go through, the things that I would do, right? Even Paul said in the Bible, I don't know why I do the things that I hate that I do. But that's the flesh. Sometimes we just keep doing it, even though after we do it, it's like it's like a cheap thrill, right? And we do it in that moment. And then what, right? And we're like, oh, I did it again. But you have to get to the point where you hate it. So when we talk about hate, there's some things that you will have to hate in order to awaken your greatness. You're going to have to hate it. You will have to come to a place where you hate everything that is getting in the way of the manifestation of like who God made you to be. For some of us and most of us, it takes that. Because we're so stuck in our comfort zone. We're so stuck in what feels safe. Our brain is wired to protect us, and things that feel uncomfortable, it makes us retract from it and flee from it unless we push forward. And that's why you have to keep growing your mind, because if not, it's going to be a worse downfall, because it's kind of like your brain doesn't know unless you literally hack your brain and tell it that you're going to do different. So you have to get to that point. Okay. What I wrote on here. Hate is the word that breaks the tie we have with habits and choices we know keeping us from reaching our destiny. Only when we hate them will we do whatever it takes to break away from them. And that's what I had to do. A lot of us have had to do that, right? When we fight adversity and we go through that perseverance and we do it anyway and we keep going. And we know that what we're doing here is not overnight. You're not showing up on a Monday night because of just, making an extra $50 a week. We said that last week, right? You're here, yes, to grow that paycheck, but you know the value of this community. You know the value of how we love on each other. You know the value of how whenever you feel like you just need to hear something, even if it's a word from God, you can come to this team for that. You can come to this community for that. So it's bigger. It's so much bigger than that. And it's incredible how so many of us we're going through so many things, and we were starting to go into that motion of changing things. But when we came to this community, it kind of just wrapped it all together. And we're like, wow, this is where I'm supposed to be. And we're planted here for a reason. And we're growing here for a reason. So you have to keep going, because there's a development that must take place before you go into that purpose. For it to be fulfilled, you have to develop. Our leaders tell us all the time. That's what they mean when they say become more. The more you grow as a person, the more you grow in your heart, the more you learn how to love, serve, and grow other people, the more your business is going to grow, the more fulfilled you're going to feel, the more passion, the more energy you're going to have, not only in this business, but in your life. It's not going to feel like a task. You're going to love what you're doing. Then you're never going to feel like you're working a day in your life, right? We've heard that before. So, oh my goodness, y'all, I need my book, because this is where you need your pen and paper, right? About working it out. There's an area in this book where it says working it out. Grab a pen and paper, because I want you to think about, hold on, let me get my book. Please excuse my mess. I have laundry behind me. Y'all know I don't fold my laundry. Okay. All right. I wrote it down. Page 88. And I hope this is making sense. I always say that, but hey, look, there's a method to my madness. Okay, so where are we at? Okay, so grab your journal and imagine yourself at the height of success. Imagine yourself on stage, 200K, or maybe you're receiving your millionaire award, right? Imagine yourself. Okay. Don't be limited by certain like qualifications or experience. Like, this is your opportunity to dream right now, y'all. Let's dream. If you need to close your eyes, close your eyes. Okay. What are you doing at that height of your success, right? Jot it down. Think about these two questions that you're writing it down. One, what are the most important character traits you must possess to maximize your dream role? Who do you need to be? How do you need to handle certain issues in your team? How do you need to handle sales dropping? How do you need to handle when somebody leaves? How do you need to handle the trolls on social media? How do you need to handle even that success, even being in the spotlight? How are you going to handle? How are you going to carry yourself? What are the most important character traits you must possess to maximize that role? Number two, how are those skills showing up where you are now? It's naive to think those skills emerge overnight, right? Even the height of success in the trajectory of what we're doing here, even your development personally is not overnight. So these are muscles that must be exercised in your now so they can be strong for your future. That hit me. I was like, wow. Like I thought I was doing it, but to a certain extent, I still wasn't. By not leading that work with me, for example, right? Running away from that next level of leadership that I know that I need to get to. So you have to start working it as if it's almost like if you don't see it before you see it, you're never going to see it. Like if you don't become before you actually become, you're never going to become, if that makes sense. You have to start now. You have to start working those traits now. For a year now, I've been waking up before 5 a.m. most days. I never thought I would do that. Now it's like a craving. Now, when I try to sleep in, I can't sleep in. It's like it's 6 o'clock and I'm like, oh, okay, sleep some more. I can't. I want to get up before my kids. I want to read my book. I want to do my self-development. It's like, I need it. Those are the small little habits, right? Now, guess what I started this year? Instead of like just putting down and I'm going to do a workout and waiting to try to fit it in at any time of my day and then feeling like, oh my God, like, oh, I didn't do my workout, the day's going by. Or almost like when we say eat the frog, right? Do the hard thing first. Like going live, if you plan on going live, do it first in the morning. Now what I've added after I started doing those small little changes last year, now this year with the changes I already did, now I incorporated something else. I'm working out at 5:30 in the morning. I'm actually waking up at 4:30 now because I know I need a long time. Like I love my worship. I do self-development. Sometimes I read a little bit in the morning. Yeah, you just tore up all my sticky notes. Okay. And I'm working out in the morning now. And I started a week before the new year came, right? You just have to start. Don't wait till that new year comes because then it's going to be January the 3rd now and you probably haven't done anything. It's about starting before. So now this morning when I woke up, it was like nothing because I already started doing it a week before the new year even came. I worked out 4 times last week before New Year's Eve, in the morning, something I've never done. Okay, baby, what's up? What you want now? I want this one. Okay, mommy tries to keep her Zooms quick, short. Okay, here, go. All right, where was I? All right, I have the questions. Okay, so another quote that I wrote down: when you grow. Okay, hold on. He wants to write on my paper. Here, you're not about to write in this book. Sorry, y'all. Mom life. Okay, right here. When you grow, there may be parts of you that begin to take a new form. Never apologize for that. When you force yourself to fit a mold created by people who don't value your authenticity, you cheat on yourself and you become faithful to an image you can't maintain. that was powerful to me because, okay, baby, that's when comparison mode sets in. That's when we start feeling like we need to be another type of leader other than what we feel called to do. That's when we feel like we need to compare our someone's chapter 12 to our chapter 3. You know, you don't have anything to prove to no one. You don't need validation from anyone. Just God and yourself. Oh God, I'm almost done. Okay. Okay, baby. Okay. Can you get on the floor right here? Look, right here. Yes, baby. There you go. All right. Oh Lord, come on, Tristan. Let me be great. Okay. Okay. All right. So how are you gonna get there, right? Giving you some tips on working it out again. Okay, Tristan, right here, right here. What page do I have? Page 132. Almost done, y'all. Okay, I don't want you to write on my book. All right, so let's write down again. Let's set some goals real quick. You don't have to do them all now, but just maybe take some notes. Think about your life and create goals that fit within 3 specific categories, right? When we talk about short-term, long-term, and generational goals. Okay, you have to keep in mind those generational goals too, because guess what? Okay, it's nice. Okay, you want to show them? Okay, there you go. It made me think, I'm like, generational goals, right? Those are the ones that are going to make you not stop, because those are the ones that affect others that are around you. Who's going to be affected by you quitting? And who's going to benefit by you persevering through? Those are those generational goals. So, don't worry, you don't have a goal for every category. Okay, so get big, get bad, and get bold in your dreaming. List whatever comes to your mind. With that, there are some things to consider when thinking through and writing down your goals. Your generational long-term goals don't have anything in common with your now. That's why it's a goal. Don't limit your goal to your now. When a goal comes to mind and you start thinking about how it's impossible for whatever reason, right? That's when we start thinking, oh no, who am I to think that big? Oh no, I'm not going to be a millionaire. Don't go there. Don't do that. That's a major cop out. It makes me give, if y'all know Sarah Jake said, it makes me give you a major side eye. Like, girl, please, like, yes, you can. Take inventory of your now. What do you want to do with your tomorrow? Where would you like to see yourself in 5 years? What would your goal be if you weren't afraid? Wait, if you weren't afraid, it would sound too ambitious or crazy. What would your goal be if money and support wasn't a factor? So many times, right? The people that we expect to support us don't support us, and because of that, we stop. If that wasn't a factor, like if it didn't matter, what would that goal be? So, in the words of Sarah Jakes, go ahead with your bad self. Take the limits off your potential and dream and just write it out. Whatever comes to your mind, as crazy as it may be, just do it, because the long-term and generational goals have nothing to do with now. Those short-term goals do. But remember, the short-term goals are going to get you to that bigger goal. Okay? So your short-term goals, okay? Your short-term goals determine whether you'll accomplish your long-term goals. If you have a long-term goal, but not a short-term goal, then your long-term goal is just a dream. There should be something you're doing today that will help you get one step closer to that goal tomorrow. I try to connect my long-term goal with my generational goal. I consider the generational goal as the new way of existing that I want to establish for people influenced by my journey. Like when we're dreaming and we're sharing our vision and we talk about it on social media, right? We're telling them our long-term or generational goals. And guess what's going to happen when they start seeing it? Like, I'm sure so many people on Amber's page right now is like, oh, she going part-time. Oh my gosh, she's going on a trip, right? We heard her talk about this and she really did it, right? That's what it's about. So don't be afraid. We always say you'll never be more relatable than you are right now. I imagine it too. Like, oh my gosh, I remember she was on her own with her kids. She was saying she was waiting on her kingdom partner and she was going to live as pure as she could live. January 24th, y'all, drug-free a year. Like it's happening, right? And you set those things in motion and you share your story. Oh, I remember she shared one time she didn't have even gas to get to the store to get her Pampers, but she got that little check, right? And she made it for her babies, right? Now look at her. She's tearing up her food stamp card, right? Like it's about sharing it. Don't be afraid to share it. And anytime you may doubt sharing that post that you just wrote out with all your heart, like, I know I'm not the only one. How many times have you wrote a post and you cried after writing it out? And then you're like, oh my gosh, should I really post it? Or you might post it and you're like, oh man, what are people thinking? Just let it go. Post it and walk away. Don't even look at the notification. Doesn't matter, because somebody's going to read it. Somebody needs to hear it. It's going to impact someone. Even if it's not today, it may be a month from now, maybe a year from now. Stuff come back up on a timeline. Trust me. Somebody out of nowhere commented on a post from last year or a picture from last year, because people go snooping out of nowhere, right? And it pops back up. What if that's when that person's supposed to hear it? But if you never posted it, they're never going to see it, right? So let's see. I think that's all I need from here. I try to connect my long-term goals. Oh, that could be family, friends, coworkers, and or mentees whom I desire to be exposed to a new model. You want to expose those people. If your long-term goal only gives you gratification, what, Tristan? Okay, Tyler, go tell Tyler. Go tell Tyler to put Blaze on. Go. He wants to find everything and anything that, yeah. All right. Sorry. I'm normally so fast, y'all. But hey, somebody needs to hear this too tonight. If your long-term goal only gives you gratification, then you're robbing the world of the positivity it so desperately needs, right? That's when it's like it's bigger than us. Generational goals are my way of saying that I recognize my life is bigger than me, and what I do each day doesn't come down to affecting just me. It affects the generation that is alive to see my journey. So an example of that could be, I want to create generational wealth in my family, right? You can write this goal and have like 35 cents in your bank account right now. So what? Write it out anyway, So just remember that the short-term goals are just implementing how you're going to get there, right? And you have to renew your mind. This is my last point here. To get there, work on renewing your mind. Work on that mindset, because you start responding so different when you become okay with the process. When you realize that the process is more important than the finished outcome. Like Bob Heilig says, like, the goal is not just about achieving a goal. It's who you become on the way to trying to achieve that goal, whether you achieve it or not. Right? So we talk about planting seeds, right? So God's vision is that seed that you receive. Let's say he puts that seed, even if it's that little mustard seed in your hand. That's God's vision. So what do? You set it in motion. You start acting on it. You start watering that seed, right? You start planting them. You plant it, then you water it, right? You do it anyway. Okay? And then you keep producing. You keep producing until your seed looks like what God said. You keep going, even if you have to pivot, even if something didn't work, you keep planting, you keep watering, you keep going. You don't stop. You may have to change certain things and move it around a little bit along the way, but you don't stop. You keep producing until it looks like what God put in your heart, what he said that he created you for to do, when you find that purpose and that passion. Okay? So, question, do you have what it takes to throw another seed in the direction of your destiny? Maybe somebody on here right now is just feeling like they're done, feeling like they just cannot go on. It's too hard. Maybe it's not for you. I've been there. Do you have what it takes to throw just another seed down? What if that next seed is the one that's going to just, but you don't know, and it's going to kill you inside to let go and see another woman create what you wanted to create as well, create their dreams, and you didn't, right? So throw another seed down, even when you feel, even just keep going, commit to the short-term process, and your long-term goals are inevitable. They're going to happen, but you have to commit to that short-term process. And I wanted to talk about self-accountability. They're in the stage where they keep beating each other up, y'all. Don't do it alone. Partner with God and trust him. Seek him, let him guide you. Speak to him when you're tired and weary. Galatians 6:9, don't get tired of doing the right thing, for in time you will reap a harvest, right? But when we talk about accountability, at least in Overcomers, it's not about like accountability partners, right? The only partner may be God, but then it's you, right? Self-accountability. And what I learned even from Bob is like, you have to keep track of your progress, right? And I've seen Amber started doing that with a journal that you got. And I had a sheet, my printer broke, I couldn't print it. I'm going to try to maybe send it to you guys, but it's basically like you writing out every week, let's say, right? It's you want to write down your leaders, you want to write down their who they're building with, and write down your personal IPAs, let's say, right, the ones you're going to focus on. And then you look at last week's PV, and then last week's PV and this week's, what is it, QB? And then last month's PPA and this month's, like where you're at with that PPA every week. Just kind of keeping track. And you document those sheets every week to kind of keep progress and see, okay, where was I last week? Where do I need to improve? And I feel like that's something I've been missing because I haven't really had a visual of my progress, or where it's been up, where it's been down, what area do I need to work on? So that's something that I'm going to share with y'all probably in the chat. I need to get that sheet together. If you want something to maybe just self-track yourself, you have to keep up. It's in the end, numbers do matter, right? In what we do. And when it comes to your business, you have to keep track of it. So that's something I want to start doing every day. So only you can do this. Only you can get up every day and decide you want to show up even when you don't feel like it, even when you're fearful, even when you're doubtful, even when you don't feel capable of it. I'm going to say it again. Set it in motion and take on that fearless action.
Oh my goodness. I loved that so much, even though Tristan was trying to keep you from being great. I loved it. And I just want to, while you were talking, I thought about a couple of things I want to say real quick, and then we're going to hop off here. And I just want to start by saying, like, if you're not planning on going to conference, please plan on going to conference. Okay. Because I remember last year was the first conference I've ever been to. I was in this for like almost 3 years at the point. And I remember like I kind of like low key like thought it was kind of silly, and my husband thought it was silly too. He was like, is this, because it was spending money, right? I had to pay for my plane ticket, I paid for my conference ticket, I was gonna have to pay for the hotel, I was gonna have to pay for food. And it's like in the moment, like we weren't really at a place where we could be spending money on just going to a conference, but I didn't realize how much I needed it until I got there. And I still look at those moments at conference in like they propel me in my business even to this day, because I remember when we were sitting there in the audience and people were getting up on stage. I remember the majority of the people that were on stage were sharing like their success and how fast they got to whatever rank and what they did to get there and what they thought was important in the business or whatever. I don't remember a single person getting up on that stage and saying, I fought to be here, right? It took me 17 months to get whatever K. It took me this long. I've been in the business this long. I don't remember anybody ever sharing that story that like, hey, it was a struggle for me. And I remember looking at that stage saying, I want to be the girl that gets up there and talks about how like it was actually hard. It was really hard to work full time when she was trying to build this business. It was really hard to come in to network marketing, having no experience before, right? It was really hard, whatever your season may be. And I want you to kind of think about that. But also I want you to think about the leaders that you look up to in this team. So maybe you look up to Em, maybe you look up to Katie, maybe you look up to Lindsay, to Brielle, to, I don't know who it is for you, but before I went to conference, I honestly looked at them like celebrities. Like I had been watching them on the team page. I had been like deep diving into the team page, not just going through the guides and showing up on Wednesday nights. Like I was like deep diving any chance I could. Self-development was in the team page. Self-development was like elsewhere also. I would go to their personal pages. I would watch their videos. I would watch how they do opportunity events. I would watch how they talk about samples. I would watch their live videos. And I remember thinking like, these guys are celebrities. These guys are just like, they're never going to talk to me. Right. And I got there and they were human. They were human. They sat down with me. They knew my name. They literally talked to me. And I'll never forget sitting down and doing self-development with them. I'll never forget praying with them. I'll never forget that circle around that table with them and just like them pouring into us. And in that moment, I looked at them and I said, never again will I look at you like a celebrity. Instead, I'm going to flip that mirror on myself and I'm going to say, I'm going to be that for somebody else. I'm going to be that for somebody else, because there's next conference, somebody's going to be looking at me thinking the same thing. And I want her to know her capabilities in her leadership, in her team, and that she can be just as impactful as anybody else here on this team. Right. And so I want you to think about that too, especially if you're like teeter-tottering on like, should I go to conference or not? It just might change a lot of things in your business, because I still show up on live video now and I'm like, I don't want to do it, but like somebody needs this message, right? And you get to a point where you realize it's not just your audience watching you, but like other like parts of the tribe watch you, and they'll message you and they'll be like, I actually really, really needed that message today. Thank you. And it's just kind of like a reassurance. Like, I'm glad that you needed it, but like, I also know that somebody else on my timeline needed it too. They're just too scared to talk to me yet. Right. But it helps keep you like that little nudge of like, okay, I'm in the right place. I'm on the right path here. Okay. And the second thing I want to say is I want to talk about motivators, because we were talking about goals and putting them into motion. But sometimes when you write down goals, you look at them and you're just like, ooh, right? Like that doubt sets in and you're just like, I don't know how to put this into motion. Like, what does that mean? How do I break that down into bite-sized pieces? I want you to think about what it is that motivates you. And I hate to say like motivates you, but like you can call it inspiring, whatever you want. But I'll tell you right now, there's two things that either motivate or inspire people. It's the gaining of pleasure is one. So maybe it is the handbag or the vacation or the auto bonus or the big house that you want to build one day or finances. Like maybe it is that for you, but I'll tell you, for me, it's been pain points. Right. And so it's either pleasure or pain that motivate people to change something about their life. You take the girl that wants to go to the gym and lose 10 pounds. It's either she's going to gain that body that she wants and that feeling of confidence, or she's like, I'm tired of being fat. Right. I'm tired of feeling like this. I'm tired of being exhausted. I'm tired of being short of breath when I go up the stairs. It's embarrassing. Right. Like it's one or the other, right? But you have to decide for you, and it's okay, whichever one it is. I don't care if it's pleasure. I don't care if it's pain. I don't care if it's a little bit of both. And you're just like, no, I kind of like both, right? It doesn't matter, but you have to decide what makes you tick. Okay. I encourage you to do an Enneagram test. I encourage you to do a personality test. I encourage you to do all these things to figure out you, like in your heart, at your core, what makes you tick. And for me, it's pain. Right? It's not so much like finances and stuff like that. Like I grew up in a family where people try to buy my love, right? Like I'm not about gifts. I'm not about like all that, but I motivated myself in this business the past 3.5 years with pain, with being the first mom to drop off at daycare and the last mom to pick up, with being the mom who was tired of looking at negative bank accounts, who couldn't afford the groceries, who was stuck doing smoothies and sandwiches, right? Because her babies were both on formula and both in diapers at the same time. Like you have to, and that's why I keep it in my phone. I keep it in my phone on my notes app. It's called Remember These Moments. That works for me because sometimes I need a little self-check and I'm just like, okay, Amber, like you haven't gotten a sample out in a while. You haven't signed a customer in a while. Your team's not growing. Your team's quiet in the chat. Like, where do we need to grow a little bit? I look at that and I start showing up on my social media based on that note, because I took note of when I was eating at microwave light because my family was all asleep. I took note of that. I didn't get to speak to my children that day, right? Because I left before they went to bed and I got home after they were already in bed. I take note of that. I take note of how long I was going to keep walking into that hospital. Absolutely completely unfulfilled by my job. I would tell myself every single day walking in that hospital, how much longer are you going to do this, Amber? And so the days that I didn't want to show up and do live videos, the days that I didn't want to have those bold follow-ups with people who told me 2 times already, like, I'm going to come, it's going to be like, I'm waiting on this, I'm just scared about what other people are going to think. My husband doesn't support me. Like, I'm just worried, right? It was those bold follow-ups that those were the moments that carried me. The moments where I'm like, okay, how much longer are you going to keep walking in the hospital? How much longer are you going to keep living in this little downsized house? Like, here we are 2 years later, we're still living in a downsized house and we haven't paid off all our debt. We moved into this house to pay off our debt. And I went months, you guys. I used to color in my little puzzle pieces every single time. And I had to kind of like revamp that because it got out of my vision a little bit. Right. And that's okay. But you have to figure out what motivates you, what pushes you to that next level. And you have to stay close to that. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's pleasurable things. You get on your social media, you can talk about how you want whatever, or you can get on your social media and talk about where you came from. And that maybe there's somebody else on your social media that also needs to pay off debt and also hates her job and also wants to see her family more, right? You talk about those things. Okay. That's really the only thing I wanted to say, is just kind of like a recap there. But thank you, Harriet, for taking over tonight's Zoom, talking about goals. I think it's perfect timing, the beginning of the month, beginning of a new year. But it is the same you. It is the same you. But sometimes to get different results, you have to change like a little bit in your heart. Right. So we're going to end it there tonight. This will be recorded and it will be put on YouTube. I hope you guys have a great night. Thank you, guys.